I never thought I'd live to see the day when someone called the police to kick me out of my own house. It was a warm Saturday afternoon. I was sitting on my porch, rocking gently in my old wooden chair, sipping a glass of sweet tea. The world felt peaceful for once. Birds chirped in the oak tree by the driveway, and the smell of fresh-cut grass lingered in the air. But peace doesn't last forever. Not when you live next to people who believe they own the world. I had just moved into this house a year ago, after my wife Mary passed away. It was our dream home, sitting just outside the gated subdivision. She always wanted a big garden, and this property gave her that chance. Even though she's gone now, I keep the flowers blooming. They remind me of her smile. But the homeowners association from the subdivision next door never liked me. Why? Because my house looked too good? Because people driving into their neighborhood saw my garden before they saw their fancy stone gates? They started with small things. Notes on my door: your grass is too long, your fence color doesn't match community guidelines. I ignored them. After all, I wasn't a member of their HOA. My property was built before their subdivision even existed. Then came the pounding on my door that afternoon. Bang, bang, bang. I opened it to see a woman in a bright pink visor, sunglasses perched on her nose. "Holding a clipboard like it was a weapon, sir," she said sharply. "You're in violation. Your shed is not HOA approved." I blinked. "Ma'am, I'm not in your HOA." Her lips curled. "Everyone here is in the HOA. Not me," I said firmly. "This house was here before your subdivision was even built. I own this property outright. I'm not bound by your rules." Her face turned red. "We'll see about that," she hissed before storming off. I shook my head, muttering to myself, "Mary, you wouldn't believe the nonsense these people bring me," but I didn't know it yet. That day was only the beginning of something much bigger. 2 days later, I was planting tomatoes in Mary's garden when I heard sirens, the kind that make your chest tighten before you even see the flashing lights. 2 police cars pulled up in front of my house. I stood, brushing dirt from my hands, and walked toward them. "Afternoon, officers. Everything all right?" One officer, a young man with a kind face, glanced at his notes. "Sir, we received a call. The HOA here claims you're trespassing on their property." I felt my blood pressure spike. Trespassing. This is my land. I've lived here over a year, and I've got the deed to prove it. The second officer, older and sterner, looked me up and down. "We're going to need to see some proof." Before I could answer, the pink-visored woman marched up with 2 other board members behind her, their arms crossed. "There he is," she announced dramatically, pointing at me like I was a criminal. "He refuses to comply with HOA rules. We told him to leave, but he won't. He's squatting." I laughed bitterly. "Squatting. Lady, I own this house." The officer turned back to me. "Sir, do you have documents?" I hurried inside, grabbed the framed deed off the wall. Mary always insisted we display it proudly, and brought it out. My hand shook as I handed it over. The younger officer read carefully, then nodded. "This checks out." "Sir, you own this property free and clear?" The woman in pink exploded. "That can't be. Everyone here is under HOA rules." The officer raised his hand. "Ma'am, this property is not part of your subdivision. He is not under your authority." Her voice trembled with rage. "If he doesn't follow the rules, then he doesn't belong here." And that's when something inside me snapped. I stepped forward, my voice low but steady. "Lady, I buried my wife on this property. She spent her last days planning this garden, dreaming of the life we were supposed to have here. And you think your rules give you the right to take that away? You've got another thing coming." Silence fell. The younger officer looked uncomfortable. The older officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am, if you call us again with false claims, you could face consequences." But she wasn't done. She leaned in close, her voice dripping with venom. "This isn't over. We'll make you leave one way or another." I watched them walk away, my heart pounding. I thought I had one. But the battle had just begun. Weeks passed. Every day, another petty war. Trash tossed onto my lawn. My mailbox knocked down. anonymous complaints to the county about unsafe structures. I spent more time at the courthouse defending my property than I did tending to Mary's garden. Each night, I came home exhausted, staring at the roses she planted by the front steps. One evening, as the sun dipped low, I found the roses trampled, flattened, crushed under heavy boots. My hands trembled as I knelt, trying to salvage what was left. Tears stung my eyes. "Mary, I can't do this without you," I whispered. That night, I nearly gave up. I thought about selling the house, walking away. Maybe that's what they wanted all along. But then, as I sat at the kitchen table with the deed in front of me, I heard Mary's voice in my head, soft and steady. "This is your home. Don't let them take it away." The next morning, I made a decision. No more hiding, no more bending. I would fight back with the law on my side. I hired an attorney. We filed a restraining order against the HOA for harassment. I gathered every piece of evidence, the notes, the photos, the false complaints. The case was set for court the morning of the hearing. The HOA board strutted in like they owned the world, led by the woman in pink. But when the judge read through my deed, the evidence of harassment, and the police reports, her smirk faded. "Ma'am," the judge said sternly, "this man does not belong to your association. He is not under your jurisdiction. Your repeated harassment and false reports are not only baseless, they are unlawful." Gasps filled the room. The judge banged his gavel. "If this continues, there will be fines and possible criminal charges. Do I make myself clear?" The pink visor slipped from her head as she stammered, "But, buddy, doesn't fit in." The judge's eyes narrowed. "That's not how property law works." I walked out of that courtroom feeling 10 feet taller. For the first time in months, I could breathe again. But the biggest surprise was yet to come. After the court ruling, things changed. The HOA couldn't touch me anymore. No more notes. No more calls. No more police at my door. But something unexpected happened. A week later, a knock came at my door. This time, it wasn't the pink-visored woman. It was a young couple from the subdivision, holding a pie. "Sir," the woman said softly, "we just wanted to apologize. We never agreed with how the board treated you, and we want you to know. Your garden is beautiful. My kids love walking past it on the way to school." Her husband nodded. "We lost my mom last year. We know what it's like holding on to pieces of someone you love. Don't let them make you feel unwelcome. You belong here as much as anyone." I swallowed hard, emotion catching in my throat. "Thank you," I whispered. From that day forward, started meeting more neighbors, people who quietly had admired my garden all along. They began stopping by, asking about Mary's roses, sharing their own stories of loss and resilience. And then one afternoon, I saw something that made my heart swell. The children from the neighborhood had planted their own little flower bed near the gate. A sign stuck in the dirt read, "For Mrs. Mary, who made the world brighter with her flowers." Tears rolled down my cheeks. For the first time since losing her, I felt peace. I stood on the porch, looking at the blooms swaying in the breeze, and whispered, "We did it. Mary, they can't take this away from us." Sometimes, the battles we face aren't just about property or rules. They're about love, memory, and the places that keep our hearts alive. The HOA tried to erase my home, but in the end, it was my wife's garden and the kindness of a few good people that reminded me what really matters. So, if you've ever felt pushed out, unwanted, or silenced, remember this: no one can take away the love you've planted. Not as long as you stand strong and protect it. This story is just the beginning. There is so much more ahead. Subscribe to the channel to join me on this journey.